Hello musicians. The topic of this video is getting your pinky into shape and using your fourth finger on the D string to play the note A. And when we play that note A, it is going to match pitch with your open A. You may notice that the quality of the sound is a little bit different. For instance, your open A is going to be a lot brighter sounding and maybe a little louder sounding than your fourth finger A on the D string. But the purpose of using our fourth finger A on the D string is that sometimes we might have to play something where we want to quickly change between the notes G and A, and we don't want to do string crossings. So if I want to avoid those string crossings, I can just put down my pinky. Okay. Also, another reason is because of that difference in how the note sounds, the sound quality or tone quality. Sometimes we might be playing something kind of quiet and subdued, and we don't want that big, loud, bright, ringing open A. And if that's the case, then we can put down fourth finger. So you can hear how it's a little softer. You hear the difference in the sound quality between the two. And then the final reason is eventually we're going to be learning vibrato. And vibrato is that really pretty wavy sound that we create by moving your hand back and forth and bending the pitch of the note. You can't really vibrato on an open string. So if I was playing that A and I wanted to make the note have some vibrato, my only choice would be to either shift my hand up to a new position and play the note, or so I could vibrate, or to put down my fourth finger. Now, vibrato is a ways off, but I think it's good to point out that that's one of the reasons why we want to go ahead and get good at using our fourth finger now for the A. We want to strengthen it because there are going to be either technical choices that we're going to have to make later on down the road, or expressive choices that we're going to have to make later on down the road where we're going to need that fourth finger A. All right, so now that we know why we're using fourth finger A, we're going to go ahead and do some exercises. Now, in order to use your fourth finger properly and not end up with a lot of pain in your pinky finger or your hand, we have to be set up with good posture. So we are going to review how to get into excellent playing position and posture. We're going to make your back nice and tall and sit up straight. Make sure that if you're seated, you've got both feet flat on the floor, or if you're standing, that you've got your feet about shoulder width apart and that you're standing up nice and tall. Then we're going to bring your violin or your viola up above your head. Then we're going to lower it down to your left shoulder. And we're going to line up your scroll with this part, your scroll, with your toe on your left foot. And we're going to line up your nose with your scroll. So we're going to think nose lined up with scroll and scroll lined up with toes. And we're just going to have your instrument balanced up on your shoulder. And you probably remember these exercises from last year in fourth grade where we would reach over and touch your shoulder and just make sure that your instrument is being fully supported by your jaw and your shoulder, and you're not having to rely on your hand to hold it up, okay? Because that's going to allow our hand to just be really nice and relaxed. All right, then we're going to make our little shelf between your thumb and your index finger, and we're just going to let the instrument's neck rest right into that little shelf. All right, now I'm going to start with the finger tapping exercise where we're going to take your fingers, all four of them, and we're just going to tap them gently up and down on the D string. And I want you to notice how my fingers are tall and they are curved. They're not flat like this. Instead, they look like four mountains. All right, so we want four mountains, not a flat plane. Okay, so if our fingers are curved, it really helps our pinky and really all of our other fingers for that matter to be able to reach where they're properly supposed to go and pull the string down all the way so you get a nice sound. All right, let's go ahead and try that on your A string. Okay, so again, I'm just focusing on keeping my fingers nice and tall and curved. Okay, and then If you're a violin, moving all the way over to the G string. Okay, violas, you can move over to your G string too. But violins, we're all the way over there on that last string. So you might have to straighten your fingers just a little bit, but notice my knuckles are still up. They're up towards the ceiling. They're not flat or back like this. So my wrist is back. My elbow is forward a little further than it was on the D and the A strings. Then violas, you can go ahead and reach over and tap on your C string, and you're going to feel how you have to pull your elbow forward a little bit more and maybe straighten your fingers out just a little. Kind of depends on how long your pinky finger is. This is going to be a little different for everybody. It isn't one size fits all. You may have to straighten your finger a little bit more to get it over on those lower strings than somebody that has a longer finger. I have really short fingers, so I kind of have to really use my elbow to help me and straighten my finger out just a little. All right, let's go back over to the D string. Tap, 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 and then relax. Okay, shake your hand out. All right, the next one we're going to do is called string polishing. And we're going to imagine that your fingers are like a little train and your D string is the train track. So I'm going to bring my instrument back up, lower it to my shoulder, get everything lined up. All right, and then I'm going to put all 4 fingers down on my D string, and I'm just going to slide my hand back and forth. So I've got all 4 fingers moving back and forth. And also, this is a really good exercise to make sure you're not squeezing with your thumb. We want your hand to be nice and relaxed. Okay, if it feels hard to move, take it away. Flop it back up there on the string, and then slide. Okay, so we're just sliding your fingertips back and forth. All right, last one. This is called left hand pizzicato, and we were talking about this in class last week. So sometimes this is an actual technique we have to do in our music, where the music tells us to pluck with our left hand, and we're going to use our pinky to do that. So I want you to see if you can curve your pinky over your strings and then strum. Notice how my elbow is changing. So I have to change the height of my elbow as I'm changing strings with my pinky. All right, the last thing that we'll do with this together in class is we'll do that exercise Texas 2-string that's in your book. And that's exactly what they're asking us to do. We're just plucking your open A and your open D with your pinky finger. Okay, so we'll go over that together in class, and you can also find that in your Essential Elements book, and I have the play-along track posted for you in our Google Classroom on the slideshow for this topic. So the last thing you can do once you've gone through your pinky warm-up exercises is we can go ahead and add the bow and hear what that 4th finger A sounds like. Don't be discouraged if it sounds a little squeaky at first, or maybe it's a little bit flat. It does take time to get those muscles in your pinky fingers strengthened. So here's what I'd like for you to do as a warm-up. Before we play any other lines out of our book, or we start learning Ode to Joy, which is our song that's going to have that 4th finger A in it, you're just going to go ahead and get your fingers curved over the string. You can see my 4 mountains. My fingers are nice and tall. All right, and then we're going to play up to your A like this. So D, then 1st finger E, then F sharp, then G, and then I'm going to add my pinky. I've got a little bit of space. It's a whole step there between that 3rd finger and 4th finger. There's my G, and then there's my A. Now go back down. Okay, if you need to give your hand a break, you can, and then try that again. Then 4th finger. You can even match it with your open A. So if you hear it's too low and it doesn't match, scoot your pinky out a little more. And then then play back down. 4, then 3, then 2, and then 1, and then we're to D. And then take a break. All right, guys. So this whole process of getting your pinky strength trained and conditioned, it takes a while. It's not going to happen immediately, at least for most people, it doesn't. So be patient with yourself. If your hand feels funny or your fingers, or especially your pinky, kind of feels like jello, stop, let those little muscles rest, shake it out, take a break, and then come back to it. And then what we'll do once we have gone through these exercises a few times together is we'll start incorporating this with some note reading, and our first actual melody or song that we are going to be learning with this is Ode to Joy, which is from Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. So more to come on that in our next orchestra class. But keep up the good work. Okay, keep coaching your pinky. It's going to get there. I will see you guys again soon. Thanks for watching.